So we're getting comfy here. This is Simone with Hospitality Net, and I'm here with Simon. Thank you so much.
No worries. Nice to be here.
And Andrew.
Nice to be so close to you, Simone. Yeah.
It's all downhill from here. Okay. So we're talking a little bit off camera about the fact that our industry is very room obsessed. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure. I think the industry, obviously, we've mastered how to sell rooms, how to distribute our room inventory. But there was a Knight Frank study just recently done that said that the next couple of years are going to be challenging, particularly in the luxury hospitality segment, and the hotels that will be successful will be the ones that diversify their revenue streams, and that means everything beyond the room. So all the ancillaries, all the different experiences, often they're not surfaced by the hotel the same way that rooms are, and there's just so much revenue left on the table. Huge amounts of revenue. We have some hotels that we work with where 50% of their revenue is rooms and 50% are other ancillaries, and I think that's where the sweet spot is.
Do you think that from a semantic point of view, the fact that we call this revenue ancillary is per se a problem? Because it looks like we got rooms and then we got something that is very ethereal on top of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I don't actually like the term ancillaries because, as you said, it's I don't think it really resonates so much with hoteliers. But we talk a lot about experiences. Hoteliers, always talk about experiences, but they talk about it as a feeling. We at Journey talk about experiences as inventory. And actually, if hoteliers start to look at experiences as inventory, manage them as such, surface them so that they're bookable, they're going to generate huge amounts more revenue.
Okay, I like the angle very much. Andrew, why do you think that we got so obsessed about rooms? Do you think it's a technical thing? It's easier to get access to availability rates and inventory?
Well, there's definitely a history of that, yeah. And I think if you look at a lot of people say hospitality tech was behind everyone else, but actually in terms of OTAs, channels, and floating that kind of inventory, it wasn't. So I think that is a big part of it. I also think it's just very, very hard to run a hotel. And I run a small hotel myself.
From an operational point of view?
Yeah, from an operational point of view, an expertise point of view. I often say running a hotel is hard, like running a restaurant is hard. But even in my 5-bedroom hotel, I have a restaurant and a wedding business. And my wife runs our business. Is she going to be an expert at Google Analytics? What is the right way to merchandise our weddings, to do this? And she's always looking for help. And I think one of the challenges the technology industry's gone to is it's gone very much SaaS, not really coupled with service, particularly in Journey's segment, where luxury hotels. Journey spends a lot of time really hand-holding and taking you through and explaining with data exactly where we go. And I think that's one of the hard things to understand is a general manager is not a technologist. Well, they might be, but really they've got to be really good at delivering those experiences. So they need help. And I think a lot of the way the technology industry has been structured is get volumes, get licenses out there, do that, devalue the service revenue in a funny way. And actually, if anything, for Journey, one of the reasons I've joined is because it's not like that. It is really about holding the hand and taking them through it. So I think that's a big part of it as well.
And I always say that talking about the future, writing about the future, or even speculating about the future is being wrong about the future to a certain extent. And I think it's getting truer and truer with what Kurzweil used to call the law of accelerating returns. It's very hard to predict anything. And I would say that it's even harder for people that, on top of predicting what is going to happen tech-wise, they need to take care of guests, they need to take care of pillows and mattresses. And I know we come from a similar background, so probably you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, just walking the floors here, you see AI everywhere. Every tech product that we see out there now has AI in front of their descriptor of what they do. And for me, I still think it's very challenging to understand what the future holds. Everybody has different views and different opinions, and they are really opinions today. Tomorrow those might change. The AI landscape's moving so fast. So for me, I still think it comes back down to the fundamentals and the foundational blocks that hotels need to get right first before kind of chasing the AI dream. And I think
such as
Well, just things like being able to manage experiences, maximising performance, understanding how to use the technology they already have. Technology is just technology if it's not used properly. I'll be amazed if anybody's really mastered how to use their PMS within their business today, let alone all the other complexities around that. So, I think, really, if it was me and I was a hotelier sitting in their shoes, I'd be really mastering all the foundational things so that when AI comes and we know the direction that AI is going to take, not just for B2B, but also how consumers will interact with AI, then we're in a position to accelerate much faster on solid foundations. There is no doubt that AI will need to access solid data sets and solid foundational blocks to perform. And I think the hotels that master that first will be the ones that will win when it comes to the AI race.
So it's about future-proofing the existing tech stack.
Yes, yeah. I think like any business that's successful, it's built on solid foundations. Even at the raw principle of having a good finance function, a good operations function, a good sales and marketing function, hotels need to do the same and master the technology they've got. There's lots of new products coming out because it's so much easier now to create a product from scratch in 3 or 4 months, but they're all very light. So there are still many enterprise platforms out there that have our experience management system, for example, has been in the industry for 30 years. That depth of knowledge of understanding how complex enterprise spas operate and all the features and functionality that go to supporting that is invaluable as long as hoteliers are using it. So, we like to look at ourselves as performance partners. We help tech enables us to help hotels perform, drive revenue and master more profitability. And I think there's a big gap, with AI to leave that open. Yeah.
Do you think that this is one of the reasons why, when it comes to tech in our industry, it's so vertical, because sometimes you got somebody coming from a different market, they try to get into the hospitality space, and they just give up after 3 months because they don't understand the complexity.
Yeah, and I think integration is harder in this industry than some others. Talk about verticals in retail, it's kind of merchandising, warehousing, distribution or whatever. I'm sure someone in retail will tell me I've got it slightly wrong, but it's kind of understood trains. I think people can come in from all different angles. If you think you could arrive at a hotel to go to the spa, say, actually, I'm going to stay the night, or arrive at the table and realise there's a spa for your next trip. How do you bring all those things together? And I think one of the things that we're trying to do at Journey, and I think we're in a really good position with the sort of luxury and understanding a lot about the customer, is bringing all of that data together into one platform. And I think Journey for a long, long time has been incredibly good at digital marketing and platform. And you only get good at that if you have good data and you really make the right targeting decisions. So really leveraging, it probably was not called AI, it was probably called data science or machine learning and all that kind of stuff. But having those disciplines in your business so you understand it, what was tied to performance, maybe that point kind of booking engine performance and then into spa, but now we're taking it to everything else. We're in a really unique position. So I think everyone's got to see their data sets as not in those verticals, as I say. And I think, again, you walk around here, sometimes the SaaS providers are all in their little niches. We are here, we don't even have a stand, but we're here to make sure that we're in that ecosystem, that we're really sharing data and how we work with you and how can we share our customer information to make an even better profile, that kind of stuff. And so, businesses are cottoning onto this, but I think our hotels need us to do that. And often when you speak to them, they're like, who do you work with? Why do you work with them? What's good? What's bad? We need to be able to exist in that ecosystem, but not be tied to just one provider. And I think that's what makes it hard.
We talk a lot about tech silos, right? Do you think there's also, whenever we talk about tech silos, it's understood as more the complexity of integrating systems. Do you think we got a problem of people silos as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. We've been working hard for so long to try and educate revenue managers and marketing managers to talk.
Good luck with that. Huh?
It's been challenging, and now even from a technology perspective, we've got a couple of meetings today where we'll be talking to revenue management systems who want to be more than just yielding rooms. Want to yield the entire stay and all the different experiences. And we need those systems to talk. We need effectively an experience management system and a revenue management system to talk, so that we can start to yield much more than historically what's ever been done. So I think there's a tech challenge in making sure that those systems can work. But as I said today, unfortunately, we'll have our team of 40 digital marketeers back in the UK who will be driving demand and traffic to hotel websites for a particular period of time that, unbeknown to us, is already full or reaching high occupancy levels, and is not money well spent. But until the teams and that visibility is there and the teams are talking, it's very challenging. So that's just one example of silos. There probably are many more. And I think AI can go a long way to maybe automating that and helping, bridge that gap. Hotels are challenged. Resources is hard. Being able to afford the right type of resource to manage and deal with all that is challenging in today's climate. So that's where AI and tech can really add a lot of value, I think, to hotels.
I would like to believe we will get there, so I'm going to end up with a Journey's quote, the other journey: don't stop believing. Simon, Andrew, thank you so much. Let's do it again next year. Ciao.